Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at the downsides of social media, especially for our mental well-being.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a big one these days.
It really is. And we found this fascinating conversation between two friends on the Learn English with Podcast Conversation YouTube channel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they actually end up talking about a bunch of interesting research and share some really relatable personal anecdotes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we jump right in and see what kind of insights we can uncover.
Sounds good to me.
So right off the bat, these friends, Daisy and Tom, they start talking about their own personal experiences with social media.
I like that. It's always good to hear from real people rather than just getting bogged down with theory.
Totally. And Tom actually mentions that he's been feeling a bit down, kind of lost, and he thinks it's because of how much time he spends on video games and social media.
That's so relatable.
It really is, right?
Yeah.
Then Daisy, who seems to have a healthier relationship with social media, she suggests that he try taking breaks, maybe connect with friends offline.
Yeah, just step away from the screens for a bit. Good advice.
Absolutely. And then they get into this discussion about why social media can feel so overwhelming. They use this analogy of carrying a giant pile of books to represent that information overload.
Oh, wow, I like that.
Yeah, isn't it a great visual?
It
It's
is.
like all those notifications, the pressure to keep up with everyone's posts. It's just constant.
Like you're trying to read a million books at once.
Exactly. And then they bring up the comparison trap and they highlight some research from a big U.S. university that actually links too much Facebook use with some negative mental health impacts.
That makes sense.
It does, right? It's that whole thing where you see everyone else's seemingly perfect lives online and you start feeling inadequate.
Like everyone's posting their highlight reels, their best moments.
Right, and it's easy to forget that everyone has struggles, even if they don't share them online. The video even talks about how seeing other people's happy profile pictures can make you feel like your own life is dull by comparison.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely felt that way before.
I think we all have at some point, right?
Definitely.
But the scary thing is, these negative impacts, they're not just fleeting feelings. They discussed a study by researchers Holly B. Shakia and Nicholas A. Christakis that found that more time on Facebook was actually linked to lower physical and mental well-being and even lower life satisfaction.
Wow, that's pretty alarming.
It is, right.
It
Makes you really think about how much time you spend scrolling.
It really does.
They also talk about how seeing other people's successes and happy news on Facebook, all that good stuff, can actually make us feel worse about our own lives.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this research from the psychology department at Utah University backs that up. Yeah, so it's not just about comparing ourselves to others. It's like this constant feed of good news that can make us feel like we're not measuring up.
I can see that.
Then the conversation shifts to TikTok,
Yeah.
and they point out that it can be even more addictive than other platforms.
More addictive. Really?
Yeah.
I'm curious, what makes TikTok so different?
Well, they say it's a few things. First, that algorithm. It's designed to show you content you'll love.
Oh, yeah, so you just keep scrolling and scrolling.
Exactly. Then there's the automatic video play. The next video just starts playing. You don't even have to click anything.
All right.
So you're getting these constant little bursts of entertainment, those instant rewards.
That's like a recipe for endless scrolling.
Right. But then they ask this really thought-provoking question. Are we actually getting anything out of all this scrolling?
Good question.
Like, are we just filling our time with empty entertainment?
I see what they're getting at.
They call it short videos, leading to short-term rewards, but potentially long-term emptiness.
That makes sense.
Have you ever felt like you wasted hours on TikTok, but you can't even remember what you watched?
All the time, honestly.
It happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah, it does.
And this leads them to talk about kids getting addicted to online games.
Oh, yeah,
And I think this applies to social media too, right?
absolutely.
They stress the importance of parental monitoring and encouraging offline activities.
Which brings us back to the importance of balance, right?
Exactly. Finding that healthy balance between the digital world and the real world for both kids and adults.
It's so important.
It really is. And they touch on this feeling, this unease that a lot of us get when we're separated from our phones,
Even for a short time.
like even for a short time.
Like we've become so attached to these devices.
It's true.
They call it phone discomfort.
I love that.
It really highlights how accustomed we've become to this constant connection.
It's incredible, isn't it?
It is.
But the good news is they offer some practical strategies to help us break free from this grip that social media can have on us.
Oh, I'm all ears. What do they suggest? So they suggest things like uninstalling apps, logging in through browsers instead of the app itself, turning off notifications, and even trying to only use social media on a laptop.
Those are some great tips. It's like you're making it less convenient, less tempting to be constantly checking those apps.
Exactly. And it's about understanding the psychology behind these apps, too.
Yeah.
They're designed to be addictive. They use colors, button arrangements, even psychological principles to keep us hooked.
It's kind of crazy how much thought goes into making these platforms so engaging.
I know, right?
But as you said, by understanding those tactics, we can start to reclaim our attention, reclaim our time.
That's the key.
So let's dig into some of those specific strategies that Daisy and Tom talked about for breaking free from, like the social media spell.
Okay, so one of the most effective things they mention is just uninstalling those apps from your phone.
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Pretty much. It's
Yeah.
so easy to mindlessly tap on those apps when they're right there on your home screen.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if you have to go through the extra steps of opening a browser, logging in, it creates a little bit of friction.
Yeah, it's like a pause button.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a chance to think twice before you get sucked in.
I like that.
Yeah.
What other tips did they have?
They also talked about turning off notifications, all those little red badges, the pings that constantly grab our attention.
Oh, I hate those. It's like they're designed to stress you out.
They are. They create this sense of urgency, like you have to check right now.
Right.
But by turning them off, you take back control of your attention. You decide when you engage, not the app.
So it's about being more intentional with your time.
Exactly. Another strategy they mentioned, and this one's helped me a lot, is trying to only use social media on a laptop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I find I'm much less likely to fall into that endless scrolling trap when I'm on my computer.
Yeah, me too. It's less tempting somehow.
Hooray! It feels more intentional.
And you're not as likely to have it with you in those downtime moments when you're, waiting in line or something.
Exactly. It helps create some distance, physically and mentally, from those platforms.
So it's all about creating those barriers,
Yeah,
right?
yes. Those little speed bumps that make you stop and think before you jump back into the social media vortex.
Love that analogy. So it sounds like they're not saying we need to completely abandon technology.
Right. It's more about finding that balance.
Finding your offline oasis, as they put it.
Exactly. Reconnecting with yourself, with the world around you.
And this is where Daisy's suggestion of finding alternative activities comes in.
Yeah, she talked about spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies,
Reading books.
all those things that remind us there's more to life than just likes and shares and endless scrolling.
So true. It's easy to lose sight of that sometimes.
It is. And I thought it was interesting that she specifically mentioned reading religious and self-development books.
Oh, yeah. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think she's looking for deeper meaning, something more nourishing than the fleeting content you find on social media.
It's like she's consciously choosing to feed her mind with something more substantial.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful message for all of us.
It is. We have the power to choose what we consume, both online and offline.
Right. And those choices can make a big difference in our overall well-being.
So to sum up this part of our deep dive, it's clear that while social media can be a great tool, it's important to use it consciously and intentionally.
Be mindful of those tactics that keep us hooked and develop strategies to break free.
Set boundaries, curate our feeds, and most importantly, prioritize those real-life connections.
That's where the real magic happens, right?
Absolutely. And speaking of magic, I think it's time for us to move on to the final part of our deep dive. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the kind of the dark side of social media.
The shadow side.
Yeah, the shadow side we've talked about a lot, from that comparison trap to just how addictive these platforms can be.
And all those sneaky design tricks they use to keep us hooked.
Exactly, exactly. But in this last part, I kind of want to explore this idea that the video touches on, this idea that social media can zap our mental strength, like make it harder to stay positive.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. When you're constantly bombarded with everyone else's seemingly perfect lives, it's hard not to start feeling like you're not good enough, like you're falling behind somehow.
And that can lead to like a spiral of negativity and disappointment, right?
Totally. And the video even mentions some research, I think it was from Utah University, that showed how seeing all those successes and happy news from people on Facebook can actually have this negative effect.
So it's almost like, comparing our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
Exactly. And it takes a lot of mental energy to fight off those feelings of inadequacy, to stay positive in the face of all that.
So what can we do about it? How do we protect our mental energy from, this constant barrage of social comparison?
Well, I think awareness is key, right? Recognizing that social media often presents a very distorted view of reality.
It's like looking through a funhouse mirror.
Yeah, everything's exaggerated and out of proportion. So once we start seeing through that illusion, we can start to detach from those comparisons. Remind ourselves that everyone has struggles, even if they don't air them out online.
So true.
Yeah.
It's all about remembering that what we see on social media is often just a facade.
Right, and we have to cultivate gratitude for the good things in our own lives rather than dwelling on what we think we're missing.
Absolutely. The video also really emphasized the importance of real-life connections as an antidote to social media overload.
Yeah, Daisy talks about how, like, she often ends up just tagging friends on social media for their birthdays instead of actually celebrating with them offline.
Right.
And she admits that those face-to-face conversations, they're just so much more meaningful than a quick message online.
It's a reminder that true connection